What's up guys, Zach from Wired Customs, and as you can see, I'm taking apart the Flathead. So I'm at what's considered the hardest part about taking a Flathead apart. So what I did was put the water pumps back on it so I could bolt it back on the frame. And I have a jack, some jack stands kind of supporting the engine at the bottom. So I can put a lot of leverage up here taking these valves out. So far I only have one of the valves out, the exhaust valve right here. And it's been a pain. It's been a pain. The hardest part about a Flathead is taking the valve assembly out right here. So I wanted to set everything up all perfect so I could show you the perfect way of taking the valve assembly out. And so far, I've been unable to show this beautiful, successful moment. This was a stuck engine. This is a very old engine that hasn't ran in a very long time. And it has been a pain to take apart. Prying these valves out, I'm kind of doing it the hard way opposed to what's supposed to be the easy way, because the easy way is not working. Everything's stuck. So I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So I'm gonna show you what's supposed to happen, but then I'm also gonna show you what I have to do because what's supposed to happen is not working out so far. So here we go. So here's the fun part. You gotta grab it at the bottom of the spring, but not to grab the keeper that's underneath the spring. So you gotta wedge this fork underneath the spring here. Okay, after you get this in here on the spring, you're gonna compress the spring all the way with this tool. You want the valve to be all the way down, so push it down with your hands or a hammer sometimes, in worst case scenario. So valve down, and then this keeper is a real pain. I don't even know if I can even record it and get it at the same time. It has to come down far enough to come out because it has a slot in it. It's a complete circle, has a slot in it, so it has to come down far enough to come out of the spring and slide off the valve. But if you go down too far, you hit the mushroom part of the valve that's at the very bottom down here, and it won't come off because that's what it actually sits into. So watch me struggle. All right, now that that super simple task is done, I need to compress the spring down and pull out this C-clip that's on the top here. So, get my finger in here. This right here is a C-clip. What you should do is compress this down, grab the notch of the valve guide and pull the valve guide down slightly so you can pull the seat out. But so far I've been unlucky with pulling the seat down to get the C-clip out. What I've been doing is hooking the C-clip because it has a little hole right here that you cannot see from this angle. I hook into that hole with my little brake tool. So here's a very common drum brake tool that I'm using to take these C-clips out. It has a nice hook on it right here. And something I put my vice grips on and I can beat it out with a hammer, which is actually what it says in the old guide from the 40s. So I'm going to try to focus here. Sorry, my hands are oily. Okay, try to focus on it while I'm trying to get the hole on the C-clip. There's a hole that's pretty much the same size as my hook. All right, I pried it down so I could get my hook in there. It was touching the surface, so I couldn't get it. Okay, there's the C-clip and it's hooked in. Okay, so I'm not a fan of how this works, but this is also in a lot of the old-timey books. I'm going off the old books. So pretty much what they did was hook into that, like how I hooked in, with a slide hammer set up, and they slide hammered this C-hook out. So here's what that nastiness looks like. So for clarification, I dropped my phone in that last video. So here's the C-hook, C-clip. It has like 5 different names that was in there, okay? Hook into that hole, hammer it out. Now the valve seat can be pushed straight down out of the block. Problem with that is the valve. So I'm gonna tell you how it's supposed to happen, but what's not working for me. Here's where the issue is. Now, next, what I'm supposed to do is pry the seat on the inside up and out, because the seat is two pieces clamped together, and what's holding them clamped together is the block. It's sitting in the block, okay? So what I'm supposed to do now is hook into the little notch right here, pry it straight up, and the valve, the whole valve assembly except for the spring, all comes out together. So far, I've been unsuccessful. I'll try it again. But what has been working, which saves me the seat, which saves me the block, which saves me from prying against all these really important pieces, is to just pry the valve up. Now that the valve seat is out from the bottom, if I didn't say that out loud, that's the valve seat in the bottom. I can pry the valve straight up. It'll come up out of the top of the block. I cut the head of it off, or actually I cut the base of it off, I'm sorry. So the base of it is mushroomed. Here's the valve here. This is the actual valve. This is not a keeper. It looks like a keeper. It fooled me at first. So you can't just pull this out because of this mushroomed in. It all has to come out together as assembly. Here's this one that broke off. Okay, it's not supposed to look like that. That's not good. What I do on this one that's already gone, I cut this off, pull the valve out completely. The valve's gone. Then after the valve is out, the valve seat here will push down and out super easy. Super easy down, but it won't go in or won't come out up. And my biggest goal is save the block, save the block, save the block, because so far the block is in great shape after I just cleaned the gunk off of it. It's a good block. So I'm gonna try it the way it's supposed to be. If that doesn't work, I'm just gonna do it the way that I've been doing. That saves the block. All right, so this is what you're supposed to do. I got my little hook in here, pried it up, popped the valve up. And what you're supposed to do now is just flip this hook upside down and just pry it. And the whole assembly comes out together out of the top. I don't like prying against the surface because I'm trying to keep this a good block. So I'm gonna get my little piece of wood here that I dropped on the floor. I do is set my wood here and I pry against the wood, and my little head nuts holds the block of wood in place. So wish me luck. Hopefully this works. Grab the valve with the little fork. And you're supposed to just pry up on the valve. The whole assembly is supposed to come out. No. All right, so my greasy hands hit stop on the video, but I got very lucky. When I pried it out, it all came out together. The guide still broke, as you can see here. Here's the valve guide. It's supposed to be two pieces. It crimps together. That C-clip fits in this notch right here, and it holds it together. And obviously it's sitting in the block is what holds it together completely. And what you're supposed to do, get this all situated, is pull this all out as one assembly. It all comes out together. Then you put it on the bench, take the spring out of it, the two pieces come apart. Here's the valve with the mushroom at the very bottom. So you can't just pry the valve out by itself. Okay, the lifter comes in contact right here. And of course this valve seat still broke when I pried it up, but thank God it actually came out the way it's supposed to come out. So wish me luck on the other ones. Maybe I'll catch that one on video. All right, so instead of showing you the perfect way to do it, I'm just showing you the struggle is real on these flatheads. So here, okay, I had the C-clip break when I was trying to pull it out. It broke off and it was stuck up in here. There was no way I was getting that out. So what I did instead was cut the springs out of the way. I cut the valve, pulled the valve out of the top, then I drove this back down into the block and pulled it out. So I had one successful one. The other two unsuccessful. This one was unsuccessful. Sometimes it's how it goes. You try to do everything perfect, listen to all the old timers, exactly of everything they say, still just doesn't go right sometimes. So the struggles is real on these flatheads, but they're a labor of love, and I love them. I love them to death. So I thought I'd post just a little real quick Wednesday video of how to get these valves out of these early 24 stud engines. This one is different than a late 24 stud engine. The valve seals, the keepers, they're all different. So this is early. This is a 91A. This is not a 59AB. This is a 91A. So thank you for watching. I'm going to post a more in-depth video on Saturday of me taking all the valves out, which ones were successful, which ones weren't. So far, the odds are not in my favor, but in the end, it'll be worth it. So thanks for watching.